Welcome everybody. Please watch the following clip by Elon Musk, what he said in a Tesla earnings call around energy storage and some inherent trade-offs, and I will tell you why I think this is vastly positive for battery swapping.
Energy storage is a big deal and will become, it's already super important, will become incredibly important in the future. And it is something that enables far greater energy output to the grid than is currently possible, because the grids are the vast majority of the grid has no energy storage capability, so they have to design the power plants for very high peaks, and assuming that there's no energy storage. Once you have grid energy storage and home-based energy storage, the actual total energy output per year of the grid is dramatically greater than people think. Maybe it's at least double. This will drive the demand of stationary battery packs, and especially the grid scale ones, to insane, basically as much demand as we could possibly make. We have our second factory, which is in Shanghai, that's starting operation, and we're building a third factory. So we're trying to ramp output of stationary battery storage as quickly as possible. Now, there is a challenge here where we have to be careful that we're not robbing from one pocket to take to another pocket, because for a given gigawatt hours per year of cell output, we have to, does it go into stationary applications or mobile applications? It can't go into both. So we have to make that trade-off. But overall, the demand for total gigawatt hours of batteries, whether mobile or stationary, that will grow in a very, very big way over time.
Now, as you heard in this clip, Elon was talking a couple of times during the earnings call about Tesla being supply constrained with batteries, and that is the inherent problem that Tesla is currently facing. I mean, that's a way of saying, well, we're not demand constrained, and they are challenged by putting out as many batteries as possible because, for one, they are ramping up their gigafactory for energy storage, and on the other hand, obviously they want to build as many cars as possible, which also have batteries going in, right? So he's talking about this important trade-off here between batteries being either stationary, helping the grid to balance, and being in applications such as energy arbitrage trading, grid balancing, and so on, helping the grid. And you've heard about the potential and the outlook that Elon has here on this market, that this is a huge market and that there is huge potential to be unlocked and efficiencies and so on. And Tesla obviously wants to tap in there with their mega packs business. And on the other hand, obviously the demand for EVs and the electrification of transport. So here Tesla obviously doesn't have battery swapping, so they can either choose whether or not the cells are going into some of these stationary products or mobile products. And what NIO has to offer here are battery swap stations, which are essentially unlocking the separation here, right? There is no stationary or mobile. A battery pack can be both. In the application case of battery swapping, a battery pack can either be mobile within the car and help to propel a car and being driven around, but that's not always the case, right? Cars are standing still for a lot of time, and also those battery packs can actually go into a swap station where they can help to either charge the battery when there is lots of overcapacity and supply of electricity, or give energy back into the grid whenever there is demand for that, and therefore helping to manage those fluctuations, stabilizing the grid, but also on top of that, making some gains on the differences in the energy prices whenever you have a grid that is tradable. Like in Europe, that's the case. In China, they're just building that. It's not there yet. And in Europe, and especially in Germany, you have huge disparities between those energy prices. So it can be very profitable business. And this is kind of one thing that most people who are criticizing battery swapping for the fact that there are additional batteries that need to be supplied to battery swap stations in order to have the inventory. They're not getting that this is actually one of the advantages of battery swapping, that it's, in my opinion, a more efficient way of utilizing batteries. Think about it. You get more optionality, you get more use cases, you get the flexibility between mobile and stationary application. Plus, this means that on total, in the ecosystem, the battery should be utilized more, and more important one, not by the consumer, but instead by the company that is NIO, right? So it's in the hands of NIO here, also managing battery health and stuff. But as NIO is here, the ecosystem orchestrator in that way, this means they have got full control over this fleet of battery assets that either go into the cars or are stationary, okay? And it's funny to see Elon Musk talking about this way of a constraint to his business, and that it's a trade-off and either or, right? While NIO having these abilities here to unlock both use cases. And I think that should be a huge game changer how investors also are seeing battery swap stations, and ultimately might be a way of profitability, unlocking those revenues coming from various sources, and as I said, on the bigger scale, should be a more efficient use of batteries in total. Thanks for watching.